A lot of times when parents are having their student athletes take lessons or they're beginning to look for exposure opportunities, I always encourage them, first and foremost, is to make sure you have an accurate skill set evaluation of who your student athlete is, and most importantly, who your student athlete is capable of becoming. In baseball jargon, it's called floor and ceiling. You want to know where your student athlete, what's the lowest level that they're capable of making sure that they can advance to. And then their ceiling is, what are they capable of achieving? What's their highest level that they're capable of doing? And once you have that evaluation can be performed by a former college student athlete, professional athlete, coach, former professional or college coach, somebody within your community or local area that has played the game or coached the game at a higher level, and get them to evaluate your student athlete in their entirety, meaning offensively, hitting-wise, defensively, position-wise, throwing, whether they're a catcher or a position player or a pitcher. Make sure you have that evaluation. Skill set development at the high school level is pivotal, meaning you cannot try to become who they are not capable of becoming. As a hitter, for instance, is your student athlete 5'8", 145 or 165 pounds? We shouldn't be teaching power hitting to a hitter that might be a top of the order or back of the order type of hitter. So from a hitting fundamental and technique capacity, you want to understand that you want them to excel in their role, their expected role, and their future role.
We're looking at setup to a certain degree, right? We got to start somewhere. And then more than anything, it's just, does this hitter, no matter what he's trying to do, does he have some rhythm? You know what I mean? Does he understand what a wiggle is and a butt shake and a little hand movement? Because hitting is all about relaxation. It's about movements. It's about being able to get your body to the center, or we like to say, so that we can turn fast, but get there on time in a repeatable fashion. So is the setup allowing these guys to do it? Do they have some rhythm and some sneak into their game?
You want to make sure when we're talking about hitting, we're talking about ball strike capabilities on a consistent basis, situational hitting. Situational hitting occurs during practice. It's not something that can be done in a cage. It can be discussed in a cage, but you want to begin to understand hitting drill is not just a bat, a ball, a tee, or a screen, a cage. There's more to it. What are we working on? What facet of hitting are you trying to learn? The situational hitting, as far as being able to understand where the runners are, what the situation is game-wise. Next, you have to begin to talk hitting as far as pitch recognition, spin recognition. We all talk about fastballs and speed and velocity, but pitchers, they're over here trying to learn curveballs and changeups and sliders. And they're talking about horizontal and vertical run.
Is he swinging at the strikes, Walter? Is he taking the balls and all that kind of stuff like that? And I try to tell our guys a lot, it's not always about what you are swinging at. A lot of times it's what you're not swinging at, because the pitcher obviously is in control in a lot of different ways, right? 60 feet, 6 inches away on an elevated surface in the middle of the field. If he wants to throw it at your head, behind your head, spin it, split it, change it. Some people think they can knuckle it, whatever it might be, but they all have the advantage. And so we've got to have some of these, movements and rhythms and sneaks, and seeing it early and showing the propensity that, like, that's a ball, man, I'm going to take that.
So teaching hitters how to pick up speed, how to hit secondary pitches, how to make sure they're hitting to the backside of the opposite field with authority, making sure that they understand that's something that needs to be worked on just as much as conventional prototypical batting practice.
Do you make a lot of contact in the zone? Do you have a natural ability to create some balance? And you don't have to be great at using the whole field as a young hitter for me to say, hey, there's something coming here. Like, I think that sometimes happens too, is it's old man yelling at clouds sometimes, where it's easy to go, oh, kids these days, they just don't know how to love anymore. They don't know how to use the backside. Like, okay, if you watch me play, you would have said the same thing, right? I was trying, but I wasn't ready yet. I couldn't control my body quite yet. I think it's always the same. But it's important to talk about still. It's like, yes, you should learn how to do that. You should grow there.
And you want to be able to teach them to do things in a progression-based model, meaning when we're learning how to hit, when we're learning how to throw, we're not trying to throw everything at athletes in a 30-minute increment or 45-minute increment. We look at college programs, we look at professional programs. When they're hitting, it's 7 or 8 swings, and then they're out of the turtle or they're out of the cage, and they're giving their body and their minds time to understand what they've worked on, where they were successful, what they need to continue to work on. So everything is based on progression. Skill set development is not something that needs to be pursued in an all or nothing environment, meaning trying to take 100 swings in 30 minutes or trying to throw 100 pitches in 30 minutes. It needs to be broken down in a progression-based manner. When we're learning position-specific or baseball position-specific drills, repetition. Repetition is your friend. Repetition can be done in an individual basis, in a group, or in a lesson or instructor-based environment such as a cage or indoor-outdoor facility. Skill sets by position. This is critical. Understand what your athlete is best at and what they need to work on. Meaning, for a middle infielder or a center fielder, foot speed is a critical component. If your athlete doesn't have great foot speed, and you don't want to waste time learning how to be a middle infielder. Positions, third base, first base, reactionary based positions, not so much about angles. Middle of the diamond, meaning shortstop, second base, center field, it's about learning how to take proper angles, how to get to the ball, how to utilize your feet and foot speed. You're fielding with your feet. A lot of parents and athletes, when they're younger, are thinking about a glove in their hands, but fielding is more a metric of your feet. Your feet take you to and through a ball as an outfielder, as an infielder. Corner positions is more about reactionary. Catching is about that, being able to receive first. As catchers, a lot of parents are worried about pop times and throwing. That's about 2 to 3% of what a catcher actually does every single game. And so if we begin to understand the construction of an elite catcher, we understand it's about receiving, hand strength. We talk about how to receive not only speed or velocity, but spin of a slider or a curveball or a changeup. Those types of dynamics to learning how to be a catcher, receiving, blocking, then throwing. Obviously, there's pitching. Pitching is a byproduct of being able to throw. I always tell parents, especially at the high school ages, you're worried about velocity. College coaches are not. Velocity is simply I call it a recipe. The 3 ingredients for velocity come through physical maturation, mental maturation, that growth internally, ligaments, tendons, muscles, things of that nature. When your student athlete is a freshman and they're 6 foot or 5'11" and 145, by the time they're a senior, that may become 6'1" and 185 or 190 pounds. So don't spend your time or your energy on velocity. That is going to occur naturally during the growth periods of your freshman year in high school through your senior or postgraduate year of high school.
Just execute your stuff, because regardless of if you throw 77 or 84, you're probably not throwing it by somebody at that age, just because of the distance that they now have to watch the ball travel. It's just not going to do it. So the biggest thing you can do is learn how to shape your pitches and throw strikes, control the game, work on your pickoff move, which I'm still working with him on to this day, believe it or not, as a left-handed pitching coach with a left-handed son.
Yes, indeed.
And, from there, it was when he joined a 14U team that was, I guess you could say one of the higher touted teams in the area. They wanted to go through a whole development phase, and with weighted baseballs and stuff like that. And I just said, we're not going to do that. We're not going to train all winter. And if you think about just the reality of it, if you improve, 2 to 3 miles an hour with velocity, how much reward is that going to give you during the season at age 13, 14, 15?
Right.
Versus the risk of like, what are you doing to your natural growth development down the road? And I get it. I know parents and people out there really, want their kids to excel and be good at what they do. But it just takes patience. It takes patience, and it takes the right messages to the kids to just hang in there and keep going.
Make sure you're learning all of the nuances to pitch sequences, setting up hitters, how to read hitters in a batter's box, the strategy of the game, meaning am I pitching with a lead, am I pitching in a tie ball game, am I pitching from behind, understanding the importance of throwing strikes, not fearing contact. All of these attributes to skill set development cannot be ascertained through one lesson or a year of lessons. In fact, they're not going to be gained through just a lesson with an instructor. It's going to occur during games. It's going to occur when your student athlete is doing individual work, private work with just themselves, a ball, a wall, a glove, a cage, things of that nature. All of that is going to develop over time. Allow your student athletes to progress and understand that the development is not only physical, it's also mental, and allow all of that to develop over 4 years. You're not running a race. This is not a sprint. This is definitely a marathon over the next 4 years of high school as well as 4 years of college. Parents and student athletes, this is a bonus. And this is really a secret sauce that no one else is going to share with you. I'm around college coaches every single day in some capacity, whether it's on the phone or in person. And there is one dynamic to recruiting that is under-discussed and really is a separator for you as a parent and you as a student athlete. And that topic and that recruiting metric is base running. We talk about foot speed and 60-yard dash and 40-yard dash. That's not what coaches are looking at. Do you know how to run bases? College coaches are looking at this as an IQ, kind of establishing whether an athlete is really engaged and understands the game. Being an elite base runner doesn't just boil down to foot speed. It boils down to understanding game situations, when to tag up, when to take that next base. We hear the term hard 90. We very rarely take advantage of that in a game. Making sure that you are an elite base runner will show college coaches that you can be trusted in game situations and that you should be a part of their roster. Learning how to run the bases, being a runner on first, making sure you get to third on a base hit, making sure you understand how to utilize your base coaches, running each play as if it was a base hit was a double should be a triple, making sure that you are trying to make sure you're running hard 90s and getting that extra base when the game and when the situation calls for it. That will help you get recruited almost more importantly than how you are as a hitter or how you are as a position player. If you have skills that match other college caliber student athletes, but you're a better base runner, that's going to put you ahead in the long run.